Welcome back to the channel, Pocket Change Coins, where we dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're focusing on a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, the 1971 Washington quarter dollar. While it may seem like a run-of-the-mill coin, it actually has the potential to be worth far more than you would expect. You won't want to miss the full story, as we'll reveal exactly how much this coin could be worth. Stick with us until the end, and get ready to be amazed by what your 1971 Washington quarter dollar might be worth today. Let's start by taking a look at the history of the Washington quarter dollar itself. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since it was first introduced in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin features a portrait of Washington, while the reverse side showcases an eagle standing on an olive branch. Over the years, the design of the quarter has seen some minor changes, but the iconic image of Washington has remained constant. Now, let's zoom in on the 1971 Washington quarter. By the time this coin was minted, it was part of a long-standing tradition of circulating coins. However, this year marked an important moment in American numismatic history. The U.S. Mint had made a few changes in the years leading up to 1971, especially after the transition away from silver coins in 1965. From that point onward, quarters, including the 1971 issue, were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, as opposed to the 90% silver content of earlier quarters. This was part of a larger shift in U.S. currency, as the government sought to reduce costs associated with producing silver coins. But here's where things get interesting. While most of the 1971 Washington quarters were made with this new copper-nickel composition, there's something unique about the 1971 quarter that makes it stand out in the world of coin collecting. You see, some of these quarters were actually made from 40% silver. But how do you know if your 1971 Washington quarter is one of these rare silver examples? Well, the answer lies in the coin's mint set. If you've ever heard of the 1971 Special Mint set, you're in for a treat. This set included certain coins made with silver, and it was sold to collectors as part of a special offering by the U.S. Mint. These special mint sets were produced in limited numbers, and the silver 1971 Washington quarters are far rarer than their copper-nickel counterparts. The special mint set was not meant for circulation, so many of these silver quarters were carefully preserved in protective packaging, often in near-perfect condition. As a result, silver quarters from the 1971 Special Mint set are highly sought after by collectors. If you come across a 1971 Washington quarter and you suspect it might be made from silver, it's a good idea to do a quick test. One of the easiest ways to identify silver quarters is by using a magnet. Copper-nickel coins will be magnetic, while silver coins won't be. You can also use the ring test. Gently tap the coin, and if it makes a higher-pitched sound, it's likely to be silver. Now, let's talk about why the 1971 Washington quarter dollar is considered so valuable today. It all comes down to its rarity, silver content, and condition. Because the silver quarters from this year were produced in limited quantities, they're far less common than their non-silver counterparts. Many of these quarters have also been kept in pristine condition, which only adds to their value. Collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved coins, and the 1971 silver quarter is no exception. In addition to its rarity and silver content, another key factor that drives the value of the 1971 Washington quarter is the overall demand from coin collectors. The Washington quarter is a beloved series, and any coin from this set that is rare, well-preserved, or has unique characteristics is highly desirable. That's why finding one of these quarters in excellent condition can make you a small fortune, especially if you have a coin from the Special Mint set. You may be wondering how much these silver quarters from the 1971 Mint set can actually be worth. The answer may surprise you. While a regular 1971 Washington quarter made from copper-nickel is worth only its face value of 25 cents, a 1971 silver quarter from the Special Mint set can be worth much more. In fact, if you have one of these coins in uncirculated or mint condition, it could easily fetch a price of up to $90,000. Yes, $90,000 for a single 1971 Washington quarter dollar. It's incredible to think that a coin so small could be worth such a large sum, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. Coins are more than just currency, they're pieces of history, and when you find a rare example, the value can be astonishing. So, if you happen to have a 1971 Washington quarter in your collection, it's time to take a closer look. If it's made from silver and in excellent condition, you might just have a treasure on your hands. Remember, the key to discovering the true value of any coin lies in its rarity, condition, and any unique features it may possess. In the case of the 1971 Washington quarter, the rarity of the silver version, coupled with its demand among collectors, makes it one of the most valuable quarters out there. Today, we're diving into a fascinating coin from the Washington quarter series that has intrigued collectors for decades, the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. While this coin may seem fairly common, it actually has some interesting aspects that could make it worth far more than its face value. So, stick around as we explore the history, design, and value of this coin, and by the end of the video, we'll reveal how much it could be worth if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter dollar was first introduced in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, this coin became a staple of U.S. currency, with the obverse showing Washington's portrait and the reverse featuring an eagle perched on an olive branch. Over the years, the design of the coin has remained relatively consistent, but it has seen some changes, especially in terms of the materials used in its production. By the time we get to 1973, the U.S. Mint had already made a significant transition from using silver in many of its coins to a more cost-effective copper-nickel alloy. So, the Washington quarter from 1973, like most quarters minted from 1965 onward, is made of a clad composition of copper and nickel. While this made the coin cheaper to produce, it also changed the value of the quarter in terms of its precious metal content. However, not all Washington quarters are created equal. The value of the 1973 Washington quarter comes down to several factors: its rarity, condition, and sometimes, even unique mint errors. It's the condition and rarity that we're most focused on today, as a well-preserved 1973 Washington quarter can be quite valuable to collectors. Let's talk about what makes these coins stand out from others in the series. First off, let's address the mint mark. The mint mark on a coin indicates where it was made, and the 1973 Washington quarter was produced at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While the quarters from Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark, those from Denver bear the D mint mark, and the coins from San Francisco are marked with the S mint mark. It's important to note that the coins from San Francisco were often part of proof sets, which are coins specially made for collectors rather than for circulation. These proof coins tend to be in pristine condition, and because of this, they can sometimes be more valuable than the regular circulation coins. Now, what makes the 1973 Washington quarter truly fascinating in terms of its value? Like many coins from this era, the value of the 1973 quarter hinges on its condition. The majority of these quarters were widely circulated, which means they saw a lot of wear and tear over the years. Finding a 1973 quarter in good or uncirculated condition is already rare, but when you find one in near-perfect condition, especially if it's from a proof set or a mint error, the value of the coin can skyrocket. But that's not all. If your 1973 Washington quarter has been preserved exceptionally well, say, it's free from scratches, discoloration, or other marks from circulation, it could be worth significantly more. A high-grade coin in brilliant uncirculated condition is always in demand from collectors, as they seek out pristine examples to add to their collections. You might be wondering, how much could one of these quarters actually be worth? While a regular circulated 1973 Washington quarter will only fetch a few dollars, the story changes if you have one in exceptional condition. And if you happen to have a 1973 quarter from a special mint set, or even one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on something far more valuable. The value of a 1973 Washington quarter in mint or near mint condition can sometimes reach prices that will surprise even the most seasoned collectors. In fact, it's not out of the question for one of these coins to be worth as much as $80,000, yes, $80,000, for a single 1973 Washington quarter if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition or has a rare feature that makes it stand out. It's amazing to think that a coin from 1973, which seems so ordinary at first glance, could have such a significant value. The rarity of a well-preserved coin, the demand from collectors, and sometimes even the uniqueness of a coin's minting errors all contribute to the value of the 1973 Washington quarter. So, what does this all mean for you as a collector or a casual coin enthusiast? If you have any 1973 Washington quarters lying around, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. Pay attention to the mint mark, check the condition of the coin, and if you have any doubts about its authenticity or rarity, don't hesitate to consult with a professional numismatist. You never know, your quarter might be worth more than you think. Today we're going to talk about a fascinating piece of U.S. history that has caught the attention of collectors around the world, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. While you might come across one of these coins in your change, there's more to these quarters than meets the eye. In fact, some of them could be worth a lot more than their face value. Stick around until the end because you won't believe how much one of these quarters could fetch if you happen to have a rare, high-quality one in your collection. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since its debut in 1932. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin was made to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington. For decades, the coin remained relatively unchanged, with Washington's likeness on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. However, as with all coins, certain years and specific mint marks stand out to collectors, and the 1979 Washington quarter is one of those years. First, let's talk about the basics of the 1979 Washington quarter. It's part of a series of quarters minted between 1932 and 1998 that featured the same basic design. What makes the 1979 edition intriguing is the year itself. It falls during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning in terms of coin production and materials. By the late 1970s, the U.S. government was already adjusting to a post-silver era. The Washington quarters produced after 1964 were primarily made of copper-nickel clad, so the 1979 quarter no longer contained silver like the earlier issues. While this copper-nickel composition lowered the intrinsic value of the coin in terms of precious metals, it didn't affect the coin's place in history or its appeal to collectors. Now, let's get into the good stuff. Why is the 1979 Washington quarter a coin to watch? Like all coins, the value of a 1979 quarter depends on its rarity and condition. While most of these quarters are easy to find in circulation, what makes them truly valuable is their condition. Coins that have been circulated heavily tend to show signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, and dents. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1979 Washington quarter in uncirculated or near mint condition, then you've got something special. The value of these coins can significantly rise when they're in pristine condition, as collectors always seek out well-preserved examples. In addition to the condition, another factor that increases the value of the 1979 Washington quarter is its mint mark. The mint mark indicates where the coin was struck, and the 1979 quarter was made in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Quarters minted in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, while those from Denver are marked with a D, and the ones from San Francisco carry the S mint mark. If you happen to come across a 1979 quarter with the S mint mark, you're looking at a coin that may have been specially produced for collectors as part of a proof set. These proof coins tend to be in pristine condition, and because they were minted with extra care, they're highly sought after by collectors. Proof coins from San Francisco typically carry a premium price tag, but what about the quarters that were used in daily circulation? While they may not be as rare as their proof counterparts, some 1979 Washington quarters do stand out due to subtle minting errors. From slight design variations to the occasional die crack, these error coins can fetch significantly more than their standard counterparts. Collectors often chase after these unique pieces because they are, well, unique. So, if you have a 1979 quarter and notice anything out of the ordinary with its design, whether it's an unusual mark, misalignment, or other abnormalities, it's definitely worth having it professionally appraised. These error coins can command far higher prices due to their rarity. As we start to approach the big reveal, let's talk about the value of a 1979 Washington quarter. It's amazing how much the value of these coins can vary depending on factors like condition and rarity. Most of these coins, if found in average circulation, won't bring in much more than face value, but if you come across one in uncirculated or mint condition, or if it has a special minting error, things get interesting. A 1979 Washington quarter in pristine condition could be worth anywhere from a few dollars to several $100s. But if you're lucky enough to find one in a truly exceptional state, the value can jump dramatically. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for: how much could a rare and pristine 1979 Washington quarter be worth? If you happen to have a high-quality, well-preserved example, or a coin with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth up to $70,000. That's right, $70,000 for a single 1979 Washington quarter, if it's in perfect condition or has some unique feature that makes it stand out. Today, we're going to explore an often overlooked but surprisingly valuable coin from the United States, the 1981 Washington quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just a regular quarter? Well, not exactly. While the 1981 Washington quarter might look like any other, this coin holds some hidden surprises for collectors, and we're here to dive into exactly what makes it so special. Let's take a quick look at the history and significance of the Washington quarter itself. First minted in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington, this coin has seen a lot of changes throughout the years. It's undergone design changes, and the material composition has shifted over time, but one thing remains consistent: the iconic portrait of George Washington on the front and the eagle on the back. The 1981 Washington quarter falls into the period after the U.S. had moved to copper-nickel-clad coins, so it's part of the latter years when these quarters were no longer made with silver. Now, you may be wondering, what makes a 1981 Washington quarter so special in the world of coin collecting? After all, it was produced in large quantities, and most of them were circulated, so you may be thinking, it's just another common coin. However, the value of a coin isn't just about how many were made, it's also about rarity, demand, and condition. That's where the 1981 Washington quarter stands out from the crowd. The first thing that determines the value of any coin, including the 1981 Washington quarter, is its condition. You've probably seen a few quarters in your pocket or jar that are scratched, worn down, and have lost some of their original shine. Well, a coin that has been in circulation for years like that won't be worth much more than face value. But coins that have been kept in pristine condition, unmarked and uncirculated, can command much higher prices. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1981 Washington quarter that looks as though it just came fresh from the mint, it could have a much higher value than you might expect. In addition to the condition, one of the key factors that makes the 1981 Washington quarter desirable to collectors is its mint mark. The 1981 quarter was produced in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Philadelphia typically don't have a mint mark, while those from Denver are marked with a D, and the ones from San Francisco carry an S. The ones minted in San Francisco are especially important because these were often made in proof sets, which were designed specifically for collectors. These proof coins tend to be in much better condition than their circulation counterparts and are therefore much more valuable. So, if you come across a 1981 quarter with an S mint mark, it's worth checking its condition carefully because it could be part of a limited set and could be worth a lot more than a regular quarter. But hold on. There's more. As with any coin series, the 1981 Washington quarter wasn't exempt from the occasional error or unique variation. Coin errors are rare, but when they do happen, they can drastically increase the value of the coin. Some 1981 quarters might have subtle design flaws, like misprints or incorrect die alignments. Even small mistakes like these can make a coin incredibly valuable. For example, a 1981 quarter with a double die or off-center strike could be worth much more than a typical example, so it's always worth taking a closer look at the quarters you find. So, what's the bottom line? How much could a 1981 Washington quarter actually be worth? If you find a regular quarter from 1981 in good, uncirculated condition, it may not bring in a ton of money. However, if you're lucky enough to find one with the S mint mark, or if the coin has a rare error or is in mint condition, things get much more exciting. A coin like that could fetch upwards of $78,000. That's right, $78,000 for a single 1981 Washington quarter. Who would have thought a coin that's only worth 25 cents could bring such a hefty price tag? But that's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes, the most unassuming pieces hold incredible value. If you happen to have a 1981 Washington quarter in your collection, make sure to examine it carefully, because it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're diving into a coin that you may have passed over without a second thought, the 1982 Washington quarter. While this coin might seem like just another quarter to most, it actually holds some serious value in the world of collectors. That's right, this humble coin could be worth far more than its face value. Stick around as we break down why the 1982 Washington quarter could be hiding a pretty impressive treasure. First, let's talk about the coin's history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. Over the years, the design and composition of the coin have changed a bit, but it's remained one of the most widely circulated and recognizable coins in America. By 1982, the coin was part of the familiar copper-nickel clad series, which replaced the earlier silver quarters. Now, you might be thinking, isn't the 1982 Washington quarter just like every other quarter from the early 80s? Well, yes and no. The 1982 Washington quarter is part of a series produced by the U.S. Mint in large quantities, but don't let that fool you. There's a reason why collectors seek out this coin. The real value of the 1982 Washington quarter lies in its rarity, condition, and minting errors, which we're going to explore in just a bit. So, what makes a 1982 Washington quarter stand out? For starters, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. As many of these coins were released into circulation and spent over the years, most have been worn down and are no longer in mint condition. However, there are always some hidden gems out there, coins that have been carefully preserved and have retained their sharp, crisp details. Coins in uncirculated or near mint condition are the ones that really catch the attention of collectors. If you happen to find a 1982 Washington quarter that looks brand new, it could have significantly more value than you might think, but it's not just about condition. If you look closely, you might be able to find a few other traits that could make the 1982 Washington quarter even more valuable. One of the key factors that coin collectors are always on the lookout for is the presence of a mint mark. For the 1982 Washington quarter, this would either be a D for the Denver Mint, an S for the San Francisco Mint, or no mint mark at all for the Philadelphia Mint. The mint mark is an important identifier for collectors because it tells them where the coin was struck. Coins from certain mints, like those from San Francisco, can sometimes be more valuable, especially if they were part of a proof set or have been struck in a particularly rare batch. In addition to the mint marks, some 1982 Washington quarters were struck with small errors that make them even more appealing to collectors. The U.S. Mint isn't perfect, and occasionally, coins slip through the cracks with misprints, die errors, or flaws. While these errors might seem small, they can make a big difference in a coin's value. A 1982 quarter with a slight misalignment, a double die, or a small scratch in the design could end up being worth far more than a standard, error-free coin. Collectors love these kinds of unique pieces because they're one of a kind, and that rarity can drive the price up. Now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much could a 1982 Washington quarter actually be worth? Well, if you happen to have a well-preserved, uncirculated 1982 Washington quarter, it could fetch a nice sum on the market. But the real kicker is if you find a rare error coin, or one with a mint mark that's particularly sought after. In such cases, This coin could be worth as much as $71,000. That's right, $71,000 for a single 1982 Washington quarter. Who would have thought that a simple quarter could hold such incredible value? It just goes to show that even the most common coins can sometimes be hiding valuable treasures. So, if you've got a collection of quarters from the 1980s, or if you find a 1982 Washington quarter in your spare change, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. You never know what you might have. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed learning about the 1982 Washington quarter and the world of rare coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more exciting discoveries. And as always, feel free to drop a comment below if you've got any rare coins of your own or any questions you'd like to ask. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck with your coin collecting adventures.